Hello, everyone. I just finished grading discussion board 2, and I noticed that there were a lot of issues with question 2. So I just want to go over some things, including how to read the graph, find ordered pairs, and then make all these equations. So I did leave comments if you miss any points. So please look over those, and then please reach out if you're still stuck. All right. Oh, and someone said that there's some good videos on YouTube, which is always a great place to go if you're stuck, or you can reach out to me. But like organic chemistry, Khan Academy, that has some good ones. So just look around if you are kind of super stuck. All right. So if we are looking at this question, which is question 2, we are given a graph. And so what the instructions say is it asks us to, let me get it all positioned right. It asks us to find the equations of both of these two lines right here. Now, in order to find those, you have two ways that you can go about this. Every single one of these ways is going to involve the line y equals mx plus b, where m is going to be our slope and b is our y-intercept. I do know a lot of people went about it with the slope formula. So in case you went this way, remember the equation goes y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Well, in order to use the slope formula or do this, you do need to be able to read the graph correctly. And so the most common mistake I saw was that people were using wrong ordered pairs, and therefore the whole equation was messed up. So if you're looking at this graph, I just want to point out that this solid dot is at 2, 5. This open circle was at 2, 2. Whenever you're doing slope from a graph, I'm going to explain it that way first. So if you're just straight looking at these two equations, you can just look at its rise and run in order to find the slope. So if I look at these two dots, I can see it went up 2 and it went over 2. So my slope for this first one would be rise over run, which would just make it a 1. So for this first line, I'll do it down here. So for my I'll write line 1. I have y equals 1x plus, and then I need to find my y-intercept. Well, that's where it crosses this y-axis, and you can see it happens right there at 3. So my equation is just y equals x, or 1x plus 3. And then that line is done. I did ask for restrictions. So what I'm looking for here is, does x need to be greater than some number or less than some number in order to make this line? Notice there is an arrow. So a lot of us use -5 as my left-hand side boundary. However, since it's an arrow, that means it goes to infinity. So I'm going to write this in two different ways. One way is to say, okay, it goes from -infinity and then stops whenever x is 2. It is a solid dot, so it makes it a bracket. A different way to write this, that's not interval notation, but set notation, is to do x is then less than or equal to 2. You did not have to write both forms, but if x is less than or equal to 2, then that means, okay, if x is 2 right here, it has to be less than that. So I'm going to erase the little red dots on those little red lines up here. And then we're going to go on to our second line. So this line, I'm going to try to color code a little bit and make this one purple. So if I look at this one, and I'm doing it just from looking at the picture, I can see here's 1 dot, and then if I go rise, I can see I went down 2 and right 1. So that means that my slope, my m, is down 2 over 1, because rise went down 2 and went right 1. We always go right. It's the right thing to do. So for my line 2, I have y equals -2x, and then there's no y-intercept on this line. Now, if you're doing it just from the graph without using like this kind of equation or anything else like that, what we'd have to do to find my y-intercept is continue this pattern of going up 2 and then left 1, up 2 and then left 1. So it's going to happen at positive 6. That is the equation for my second line. If it's too hard for you to imagine the idea, remember we were going down to right 1. Well, if I imagine my line going and continuing up, we can see it could go up 2 and left 1, up 2 and left 1. It does the same direction where the whole line is going down. For this one, it's an open circle right here at 2. So x has to be greater than 2. It can't equal it, so there's no line underneath, but this one is just greater than 2. The second line does have an arrow, so it does continue forever to the right, which is why we did not include the infinity. So if we wanted, we could say 2 to infinity. Oh, I'm sorry, we did not include 5 as my edge. It's going to go to infinity. So both of these in set notation or interval notation could work. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all this extra stuff, and I'm going to show you how to do this with equations, because some of you guys really liked using equations, and that was how you started on this problem. Let me get all this purple out of the way. There we go. All right, now if we're doing an equation-based problem for my line 1, we need 2 ordered pairs. So you can choose any 2 ordered pairs. A lot of people chose this one down here, which is at -5, -2. That's fine. So I'm going to write -5, -2. But then there's a lot of confusion, it seems, for the second point. We could use anything we want. So I could have just used these 2 points. Or how about I'm going to use this -5, -2, and then -3, 0. And let me label these my x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'll be using the slope equation first. So I'm going to say m equals 0 minus -2 over -3 minus -5. Oof, that's a lot of negatives. Remember, 2 minus signs convert to a plus sign. So this is the same as 0 plus 2 over -3 plus 5. We get 2 over 2 or 1. So the same slope we found just by looking at our picture, but we found it this way. So then depending on how you figured it out for your y-intercept, we could either just use the slope equation, but I don't think I saw many people do that. I think I saw a lot of you guys use our point slope form. Oh, m x minus x1. So this equation can be found in the notes, in the textbook, in the notes. If you use Help Me Solve This, you'll see this equation a lot. There are many ways that you can find the y-intercept given a slope and some points. This one will always work. So this is just full equation based. Now what we're going to do is with this plane y and this plane x will stay the same. They're going to stay in that equation. But everything else we're going to replace. So y1 was -2. My m is 1, and my x1 is -5. So we have y plus 2. Oop, we can't really see it, sorry. Y plus 2 equals 1, x plus 5. We're going to move that 2 over. So we'll get y equals x plus 3. And that's the equation for my first line. Now you can see on our graph, it's the same thing that we had found by looking at the slope, seeing it was up 1, right 1, and that the y-intercept, or where it crossed the up and down y-axis, was at 3. We would follow these same steps for our second line. but I'm not going to do that here because I want to keep this video as concise and short as possible. It is the same answer that we found before. And our restrictions, remember, closed dots, get a line underneath. So this would be less than or equal to. Open circles, just get a greater than or less than sign. No line underneath. All right, so hopefully that helped you guys a little bit. Again, please review those notes. Reach out to me if you are stuck. Good luck.